What if the real reason you feel alone isn't because something is wrong with you, but because something is right with you? Think about it. You check your phone. Nothing. You scroll, people laughing, partying, connecting. And then there's you, staring at a screen, feeling that quiet, heavy pressure in your chest. That silence hits different, and society is quick to label it. They say if you're alone, you're broken. They say if you don't fit in, you failed at being human. They call you antisocial, awkward, a loner. But what if they've been wrong this entire time? What if your solitude isn't a weakness, but a built-in defense system? What if the reason you don't have many friends isn't because you can't connect, but because your mind refuses to connect with what's fake? There's a concept in psychology, rarely talked about, where the more advanced, more aware, more precise an organism becomes, the smaller its circle gets. The herd moves together. The weak need numbers, but the apex moves alone. And if you're watching this right now, there's a high chance you've felt this your entire life. You tried to fit in. You tried to act like them. You tried to wear the mask, but it never stayed on. Something always felt off, like you were seeing things others couldn't, or maybe wouldn't. If that feeling has followed you for years, this video is going to hit hard. Because today, you're going to understand exactly why your circle is small, why people misunderstand you, and why your solitude might actually be your greatest advantage. But before we go deeper, if you're someone who thinks differently, who sees beyond surface-level reality, make sure you subscribe. Most people won't resonate with this kind of content, and that's exactly why you should stay. Now listen carefully. This isn't surface-level motivation. This is uncomfortable truth, and by the end of this, you won't be able to unsee it. Let's begin. The first trait is something most people don't even realize exists, but it silently separates you from almost everyone around you. It's called hyper-awareness of patterns. Most people move through life on autopilot. They hear words, and they believe them. I've got your back. I support you. We're friends. They take it at face value because it's easy, because it feels good. You don't. You can't. Your brain doesn't trust words. It studies behavior. You notice the slight delay before someone responds. You notice when a smile doesn't reach the eyes. You notice when tone and meaning don't match. Where others hear a compliment, you detect envy. Where others hear agreement, you sense hesitation. You don't just listen, you read. And that changes everything. Because suddenly, every interaction becomes layered. What feels normal to others feels artificial to you. A simple conversation for them becomes a stream of signals for you. You see people adjusting themselves, hiding parts of who they are, playing roles to fit in. And once you see it, you can't go back. You can't pretend not to notice. You can't fully participate in something that feels staged. It's like being in a room where everyone is following a script, and you're the only one aware of it. That awareness creates distance, not because you think you're better, but because your mind refuses to accept what doesn't feel real. And here's the part no one tells you. People feel this about you, even if you say nothing, even if you just sit quietly, observing. They feel watched, not physically, but psychologically. It makes them uncomfortable. They don't know why, but your presence disrupts their performance, so they label you. Too intense, too quiet, hard to read, judgmental. But what they actually mean is, you see too much, and I don't like it. This is why you've probably lost people, not because you failed them, but because you exposed something they didn't want seen. Think about it. Did they really leave because of you? Or because they couldn't maintain the version of themselves around you? Your silence isn't emptiness. It's observation. And your isolation. It's often the cost of seeing clearly in a world that survives on illusion. You're not bad at relationships. You're just incompatible with fake ones. And that's where everything starts to change. Because once you understand this, you stop chasing connection and start filtering it. Now here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. Because once you start seeing through people, something else begins to happen. You lose your tolerance for noise. Not just loud noise, but mental noise. Pointless conversations, recycled opinions, endless small talk about things that don't matter. For most people, this is normal. It's how they bond. It's how they pass time. For you, it feels draining, almost painful. There's a reason for that. You likely have what psychologists call a high need for cognition, a natural drive to think deeply, question everything, and go beyond the surface. This isn't about intelligence in the traditional sense. It's about how your brain is wired. Your mind doesn't get satisfied with what happened. It wants to understand why it happened and what it means next. So when someone talks about gossip, weather, or meaningless drama, your brain checks out. Not because you're rude, but because it sees no value. And over time, this creates distance because the majority of people live in that space. They talk about people. You want to talk about ideas. They focus on the present moment. You're thinking about the future, patterns, systems, consequences. And when you try to bring depth into a shallow environment, what happens? Silence. Awkward smiles. Someone changes the topic. You feel it instantly. That disconnect. So you're left with a choice. Either you lower yourself to match the conversation, pretend to care, fake reactions, laugh at things that don't even move you, or you stay quiet. Most people choose to fake it because they're afraid of being alone, but you didn't. You chose silence, and that decision, it cost you people, but it protected your mind, because deep down, you understood something most never realize. Your energy is limited, your attention is valuable, and wasting it on things that don't matter feels like losing a part of yourself. You don't want surface-level connections. You want conversations that shift perspective, the kind that keeps you thinking at 3 a.m., the kind that changes how you see life. But here's the harsh truth. 99% of people avoid those conversations because depth requires honesty, and honesty is uncomfortable, so they stay shallow, and you stay alone. Not because you're difficult, but because you're operating on a different level of awareness. You're not built for the shallow end. You're built for depth, and depth is rare. But now we go even darker, because the next trait explains something that confuses a lot of people about you. Why you naturally resist control. Think about your past. Authority figures, groups, social circles. Did you ever feel like something inside you just refused to blindly follow? Like even when everyone agreed on something, you still questioned it? That's not rebellion for the sake of rebellion. That's autonomy. Most people are driven by one core instinct: belonging. They will adjust their opinions, their behavior, even their values, just to stay accepted. There's a famous psychological study where people agreed with an obvious wrong answer, just because the group did. That's how strong conformity is. But you couldn't do it, even if it made things harder. even if it isolated you, because your mind doesn't accept something just because it's popular. It needs logic, it needs truth, and that makes you dangerous in social environments, because groups are built on unspoken agreements. Believe this, support this, follow this, and the moment you question it, you break the system. You become unpredictable, and people don't like unpredictable, especially those who rely on control. That's why you've probably been labeled as difficult, stubborn, hard to deal with. But in reality, you're just not programmable. You don't follow trends just to fit in. You don't respect someone just because others do. You don't agree unless it makes sense. And that makes you a problem for people who need obedience, because they can't manipulate you. They can't pressure you. They can't guilt you into compliance. So what do? They distance themselves, or they try to push you out, hoping the loneliness will break you, hoping you'll come back, softer, easier to control. But here's where you confuse them. You don't come back. You adapt, you grow, you build yourself in isolation, and slowly, you realize something powerful. You traded approval for freedom, and freedom, it's expensive. It costs you comfort, it costs you connection, it costs you the illusion of belonging, but in return, it gives you something most people will never have: control over your own mind. And that's where the shift begins, because now, you're not just alone. You're becoming independent. Now we step into something even deeper, because at some point your life stopped revolving around people and started revolving around a mission. While others were using time to escape boredom, you started feeling time like pressure, like something slipping through your hands. You began to notice how casually people waste it. Hours talking about nothing, days lost in distractions, years gone with no direction, and something inside you rejected that completely. This is what I call the architect mindset. You're not here just to exist. You're here to build something. It could be a skill, a business, a body, a vision, even just a better version of yourself. But whatever it is, it matters more to you than fitting in. And here's the brutal truth most people don't want to hear. You cannot build something meaningful and maintain a highly active social life at the same time. It doesn't work, because your brain has two main modes. One is social, talking, interacting, reacting. The other is focus, deep work, creation, execution, and they don't run together. When one is active, the other shuts down. So every time you choose focus, you are indirectly choosing isolation. Every time you say no to distractions, you are moving further away from the crowd, and eventually, the invitations stop, the calls stop, the messages slow down. At first, it feels strange, maybe even painful, but then something shifts. You start realizing silence gives you space. Space to think, space to create, space to become. And suddenly, you're no longer avoiding people. You're protecting your focus. People misinterpret this. They think you're ignoring them. They think you've changed. They think you're better. But that's not it. You just know what you're working toward, and you refuse to trade it for temporary comfort. You understand something most people learn too late. Attention is currency, and you're no longer spending it on things that don't pay you back. So you start saying no. No to random hangouts. No to meaningless plans. No to things that pull you away from your path. And every no creates distance. Until one day, you look around, and there's no one left But here's the part most people misunderstand. That phase, it's necessary. It's transformation. Think about it. Before something evolves, it isolates. Before growth becomes visible, it happens in silence. You are in that phase, the phase where your old identity is breaking down and your new one is being built. And yes, it feels lonely, but it's not emptiness. It's reconstruction. You're not losing your life, you're redesigning it. But here's the challenge. Even if you accept this path, there's still a question that lingers in the back of your mind, a quiet doubt that doesn't fully go away. Am I just making excuses? Do I actually need people? Is this strength or just coping? And that's a fair question, because the truth is, humans do need connection, but not all connection is equal. What you're craving isn't more people, it's the right people. And that's where the math becomes brutal. If you operate differently than most, if you think deeper, move differently, see more, then naturally, very few people will match you. It's not personal, it's statistical. If only a small percentage of people think the way you do, then only a small percentage can truly connect with you. That means, in a room full of 100 people, most won't understand you. Some will feel uncomfortable around you, and a few might recognize something familiar. But those few, they're rare, and rare things take time to find. Which brings us to something even more intense, something that explains why people react to you, even when you say nothing, why sometimes just your presence feels like a problem to others. This is where things turn psychological, because you don't just observe people, you trigger them. Here's where it starts to make sense. Why you can walk into a room, say nothing, and still feel tension. Why certain people dislike you instantly, without a reason. Why you become a target, even when you're minding your own business. It's not random, it's psychological. You act as a mirror, not a normal mirror, a dangerous one. Because most people are not comfortable with who they really are. They build identities to survive socially. They hide insecurity behind confidence. They hide weakness behind noise. But when someone like you shows up, quiet, observant, self-contained, you disrupt that illusion, because you're not playing the same game. And when people can't read you, they start projecting onto you. Their insecurity, their fear, their self-doubt. They place it on you. Suddenly you're arrogant without speaking. You're cold without doing anything. You're weird just for existing differently. But what's really happening is this. You remind them of something they're trying to avoid. Your silence forces them to hear their own thoughts. Your independence highlights their dependency. Your self-control exposes their lack of discipline. And instead of facing that, they reject you. Because it's easier to label you than to question themselves. This is why you've probably experienced situations where you did nothing wrong, but still ended up isolated because you refused to participate in the unspoken agreement most people live by. I'll validate you if you validate me. Most friendships are built on this. Mutual comfort, mutual illusion, mutual avoidance of truth. You didn't sign that agreement. When someone complains about a problem they created, you don't just comfort them. You see the pattern, you see the responsibility, and even if you don't say it out loud, they feel it. They feel that you won't lie to them just to make them feel better, and that breaks the dynamic. Because most people don't want truth, they want validation. So when you don't provide it, you become the villain in their story. But understand this clearly. Being the villain in someone else's illusion is not a loss. It's proof that you're not participating in it. You're not isolated because you're unlikable. You're isolated because you're uncompromising with reality. And that brings us to something even more powerful: the way you experience time itself. Most people are focused on now. What feels good today, what's easy right now, what gives instant relief. But you don't live fully in the present. Your mind is constantly ahead. You think in consequences, you think in outcomes. You see where things are going before they get there. And that creates another layer of separation, because while others are focused on short-term pleasure, you're focused on long-term results. They say, "Let's just enjoy the moment." Your mind responds, and then what? You see the habits forming, you see the patterns building, you see the future consequences before anyone else even considers them. This is why certain things that look harmless to others feel wrong to you, because you're not just seeing the action, you're seeing the trajectory. And this makes connection difficult, because it feels like you're speaking a different language. They're focused on temporary emotions. You're focused on permanent outcomes. They care about what's happening today. You care about what it leads to tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now. And because of that, you often feel alone in your thinking, like you're standing ahead of the timeline, watching everyone else catch up. Sometimes they call you negative, sometimes they call you overthinking, but later, when things unfold exactly how you saw them, they come back. Now they understand. Now they want your perspective. Now they want your guidance. But by then, you've already moved further ahead, and that's the paradox. You see things early, but that clarity separates you from people in the present. You become the observer, the one watching from a distance, the one who sees the storm coming, while everyone else is still enjoying the sunshine. And yes, that role is lonely, but it's also powerful, because while others are reacting, you're preparing. While others are surprised, you're ready. And this leads us to the final trait, the one that explains everything. The reason you don't depend on people the way most do. The reason isolation doesn't break you. It builds you. This last trait is the rarest, the one that makes you almost untouchable. I call it the autotellic personality, the internal engine. Most people run on external validation. They need compliments, attention, recognition. Without it, they collapse. Give them 3 days alone with no phone, no social contact, no approval, and they start unraveling. They panic. Their ego dissolves. You don't need them. Your fuel is inside. You do things because you must. Not for applause, not for likes, not for someone to notice. You read because knowledge demands it. You create because the idea won't let you rest. You build because your vision won't wait. And that changes the game entirely, because society controls most people through social leverage. You won't belong. You won't be accepted. You'll be excluded. That works on 99% of the population. They fear starvation, of validation, of approval, but not you. You don't need them. Their threats are meaningless. Their approval is irrelevant. You're a glitch in the system, a self-sustaining organism in a world of dependence. You're untouchable, uncontrollable, unbuyable, and when you combine all these traits, hyper-aware of patterns, intolerant of noise, autonomous and unconstrained, obsessed with building, a mirror to others' shadows, living ahead of time, fueled internally. What emerges, not a loner, not a loser, a king in exile, an apex predator of the mind. The reason you have few or no friends isn't because you're broken. It's because you don't fit into the domesticated, dependent society that surrounds you. Society is a farm, designed to produce docile, consuming, obedient sheep. School teaches repetition. Work teaches obedience. Media teaches envy. Social circles teach conformity. And you failed the program. Your programming rejected the update because you refused to become domestic. You were pushed to the fringe. You are the wolf they drove out of the village because you wouldn't wear a collar. And now you sit in the cold, looking at the lights of the village, wondering why you never belonged. Stop wondering. You didn't belong because you were never meant for a cage. But a warning. Isolation has a trap. The mind, when alone for too long, can turn against itself. You start doubting. You soften your edges. You lower your standards. You accept people and situations that weaken you, just to fill a void. Don't. Acting like a sheep when you're a wolf isn't survival. It's suicide. The loneliness of pretending is far heavier than the solitude of truth. Instead, use your solitude as a laboratory. This is your monk mode, your training arc, your cocoon, time, and silence. The two most precious gifts in the history of humanity are yours. Step 1. Radical acceptance of standards. Stop apologizing for your requirements. Depth, loyalty, intelligence. If you can't find them, you starve. Don't settle. Never compromise, even if it takes years, even if it takes a lifetime. One true ally who resonates with your level is worth more than 10,000 shallow friends. Step 2. The signal strategy. You don't chase your tribe. You become a lighthouse. You build. You excel. You articulate. You rise. When you reach a level of undeniable excellence, the rare others will find you. They are out there, hiding in plain sight, building their own kingdoms. Step 3. The mask of sanity. While waiting for your tribe, survive among the herd. Blend in, smile, nod, talk about the weather. Use small talk as a tool, not a lifestyle. Protect your power. Hide your inner world until it's safe to share. This path isn't easy. It isn't the path of comfort or happiness. Happiness is cheap, temporary. Meaning is expensive. It costs freedom, comfort, and illusions. But the payoff, a life truly yours, a mind truly yours, a soul truly yours. Look at the empty chair across from you. It's not empty. It's reserved for loyalty, truth, and the rare few who can meet you at your level. Do not fill it with ghosts, with noise, with false company. Honor the silence. Use it. Build within it. Grow. You are not lonely. You are the first one at the summit, and the others, they will arrive, but only if you endure the wait. So here's the question. Now that you understand what you are, now that you see your strengths, will you crawl back into the cage? Will you clip your own wings just to fit where you never belonged? Or will you burn the bridge, embrace the cold, and start ascending? Because when you rise, visibility comes, allies and enemies. The higher you climb, the stronger the wind, the darker the shadows. Loneliness is the easy part. Power is the hard part, and using it wisely, that's the ultimate test. If you're still watching, you're not like most people. You're ready. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this with someone who might need to hear it. Comment below. What trait did you recognize in yourself first? This is your journey. This is your ascent. The world hasn't forgotten wolves. It's just waiting for the ones brave enough to embrace it. You are ready. The summit is yours.